Hi, I'm Myra.
And I'm Tressa. We are fancy marketing people with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunications company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist. We proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those who inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step.
Hey, Myra.
Hello. We are rolling again.
We're rolling again.
Rolling down the river.
Yeah. We are really becoming good at these podcasts. I've been enjoying it.
I know. They're fun. I think it sounds intimidating. And I think when we have guests and we talk to our guests, they get a little, and it is kind of nerve-wracking to not really know like what's going to happen and what is it like. But I feel like we just have conversations. It's so conversational. It's just, I don't know. I feel really comfortable in this space. And so I hope.
The talking space?
Yeah. Oh, shocker. I know. Shocker. Yeah. I'm okay with talking, as all of my friends and family go. Yeah, we know. But yes.
Yeah, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. Learned a lot of great things about organizations and things that happen within our state that I really didn't know. I mean, the conversation we just had with Brad was really interesting about how many athletes are now professional athletes that came from the University of Wyoming.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I thought that was crazy. I did not believe that. I was like,
I know.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
You're going to have to watch the episode to find out, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to go through and Google. Be like, is this real?
Double check Brad's stats.
Yeah. Because I was laughing at, like, saying it's hard to be a Wyoming fan sometimes. It's what you were saying on that episode. And I'm still laughing about it because I find it hard to be a Panthers fan, okay? Like, for the NFL, like, oh my gosh, the Panthers. I hope this is your year, Panthers. I don't.
So just because you lived in the state of North Carolina, you feel like you have to be a Panthers fan?
Yeah. I mean, I could pick.
Yeah.
I guess you could pick a different team. I mean, people do that, of course, but they're there and it's fun to go to Panthers games.
Yeah.
And so you want to pull for them because it is in the Carolinas and you want to love the Panthers. Like, I love the Hornets.
Yeah.
But they're the Hornets, and they have their moments, but they've been the Bobcats and the Hornets and whatever else, I guess. But there's just this sense of, because I think the Panthers became, oh my gosh, there's a name for it, but in 1995. So,
okay. They came into the league that year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume they've never been to a Super Bowl.
The expansion teams. Yep, that's it. They're an expansion team.
Thanks
you,
to our
Keith.
sound engineer, Keith.
Yeah, he got me. He helped me out. I'm like, what is that term? So that was the year I was born. So that just gives me away. But I was born in 95. And so, like, having that and then my family and people growing up around it, you just love the Panthers. You love to hate the Panthers. And they've had some fun years, man. It's been really fun watching them. And they've gone to Super Bowls. And then the Broncos, I don't want to talk about it. That was horrible. They just blew them out, and then the Patriots have blown them out. So, you'll never forget those feelings. Yeah. But
they'll have their time.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're still alive when that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm a Panthers fan.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I'm rooting for them. I really hope whatever's going on is going to work out for them. So,
yeah, it's fun. We're Steelers fans, and we're going to go to a Monday night game this year. We've never been to Pittsburgh, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
That'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
Just being the whole vibe in the stadium and, being there on a home game.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to take your terrible towel?
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you swaddle your dogs in it as puppies?
Oh, yeah, I've got pictures.
You do?
Yeah. On game day, I'd get the towels out and lay them on the dogs for good luck.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, I totally did. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it's kind of like how a lot of people really like the Atlanta Braves because we don't have a Major League Baseball team in the state, but Atlanta is so close. So you just kind of, you love the Braves.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you have people pick other teams, of course, but if you kind of look at where you're at and your home team, It's the Braves.
Yeah, that makes
Usually.
sense. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's my team.
Yeah. But you get freedom.
Why?
It's kind of freeing,
it
though.
is freeing because we don't have a professional team in the state, so I'm not required to like one.
You don't get a stamp at birth.
I don't get a stamp.
You must love. But people here really like the Broncos.
Oh,
I'm not a Broncos fan either. No offense.
I really can't tell you why. I'm just not.
It ain't my jam.
Yeah.
And then after that Super Bowl loss, I really don't like them. So sorry to the Broncos fans out there. Today, we have a wonderful guest. His name is Dan Foote. Dan is the Director of Partnerships with the Ford Wyoming Center, which is the biggest event center in the state of Wyoming, I would like to think.
It might be the only one.
Is it the only?
Dan?
Dan, help us out.
Sure. It's the largest multi-purpose venue in the state of Wyoming. So that means that it changes from event to event, and it's 8,300 seats, which is actually less than when the building was built 40 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, wow. It's been there for 40 years. I had no idea.
That's crazy. Can you, Dan, tell us, you say it's a multi-purpose event space. I guess people know kind of what that means, but what does that mean? What kind of events are held there, from something small to large? What does it look like?
Yeah, good question. Most venues are just made for basketball, say, or made for football that you might be aware of with your sporting events. Being a multi-purpose venue, this has a wide variety and diverse selection of events that come here. So we could host a monster trucks event that has tons and tons of dirt. I'm sure somebody has the data on how much dirt we bring in for monster trucks, and then turn right around, and 3 days later we're holding a basketball tournament with a basketball court in the middle of our venue. So quite unique, and also it's challenging for our operations team to pull that off. You can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How many people work for the Ford Center? How many people does it take to run something like that?
Yeah, we have about 300 employees that are here working at different times. So most of those are part-time. There's 15 full-time employees that are here every day, but then the rest to make up for that 300 are the part-time employees that really are the heroes of our venue. When I talk about the monster trucks to the basketball, or putting up a stage for a huge concert, that's the part-time employees.
Yeah.
And those guys are just heroes. They work through the night to pull that off most of the time. They have different jobs, and then they come in and work those events. Many of our events team, which is different than our operations team, the events side of it, a lot of those people are retired, and so they're here as just a part-time job to help their retirement.
Yeah, that's perfect. And just for those out there in listener land, we probably should have said that the Wyoming Ford Center is located in Casper, Wyoming. So I assume that most of the employees live in that area.
Yes. Yeah. So we're dead center in Wyoming, and in Casper, Wyoming is where we're located. And they live right here, most of them.
That's cool. So for people that also don't know, it used to be called the Casper Event Center, and then it became the Ford Wyoming Center. Do you feel like that's opened a new path for you guys, or opened up different opportunities for you to change the name, to rebrand, to take on that partnership that you have with Ford, to move in that direction? Has that changed a lot for you?
Yeah, in fact, that's kind of it's a long answer on how that came about. Um, so the Casper Event Center is owned by the city of Casper. It was built by the city of Casper, as I said earlier, 40 years ago. And thank goodness that the forefathers then, I guess, in the 70s had the foresight to build this type of arena in our state and in a central location like Casper, because it originally in 1982 when it opened, it cost $22 million.
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know what a facility like this would be to build today, but much, much more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then through the years, the venue management has always been run by the city of Casper, who owns the building. Well, a lot has changed in the venue management world, and even in the concert world. If you think about, like, iTunes comes along, and you used to be able to buy a concert ticket for $14.50 and see the biggest act that you could find and that you would want to go to, and they'd sell their records, and that's how they made their money. Well, that all flipped when streaming came along and changed the business to where now you're paying $114.50 ticket, unfortunately, right? And then they practically just give away their records.
Mm-hmm.
So it totally flipped the arrangement on how the concert world works. And that also changed the way that venue management had to be set up. It kind of opened the door for a venue management company that brought the city of Casper to say, hey, we don't have the expertise in this type of market to run a venue in what we feel like should be a more effective venue of this size. So they went out and they searched for a venue management company to run the building on the city of Casper's behalf. And that led to the company I work for, Oakview Group, to manage this building on behalf of the city of Casper. One of the tasks that they had put us in charge of was naming rights. The naming rights had never been done for 39 years on this building, so it was a difficult task. The other part of that is that Wyoming does not have a huge amount of corporate headquarters in the state. So normally, if you look at the naming rights for a stadium or a venue of any size, usually you're going to find the corporate headquarters is located in that state or in that city that stadium or venue is located. But we didn't really have that. Luckily, the Ford Dealers Association of Wyoming hopped on as our naming rights partner. And that has opened the door a little bit to be looked at more on a national level. So when these national acts come through, whether it's Broadway or concerts or any type of national tour that's coming through, they look at it and they say, okay, that's probably not just a small event center. It's got to have it's large because it's got a naming rights partner. So it has impacted our ability to get and bring in larger acts into the building.
Okay, yeah.
So yes,
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What do you think the impact is to the state to have a facility like this? And what do you think the impact would be? I guess, what would the impact be if we didn't have a facility like this within the state of Wyoming?
Boy, I mean, it's hard to say, but when you go down the road of our number one industry in our state is energy, and we kind of know that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that our number two industry in this state is tourism. And what I see in this building, just on a one-to-one level when I meet the people that are coming to this building for an event. It also is backed up by data from our local visitors bureau, Visit Casper, in the fact that people are coming here from not only all over Wyoming, but also the surrounding areas. So they're coming from northern Colorado, Salt Lake, Utah area, the panhandle of Nebraska, Montana. They're coming from all over the general 5-state region, so to say, to come to this building for an event. A lot of people have a problem or negative connotations about Ticketmaster. Last year we switched to Ticketmaster. Our first concert was Nate Bargatze. First event, which is a comedian, Nate Bargatze, was done with Ticketmaster. I was at the doors when the concert or the comedian event first opened. The first couple that I met, and they had 3 kids behind them that were teenagers, and they come through the door and they're looking all around. I said, well, can I help you? Do you need help finding your seats? And they proceed to tell me that they're from the Utah area, and they saw on their Ticketmaster app that Nate Bargatze was going to be here, and they picked Casper to come to. So I feel like we impact tourism, and just I know stats about tourism, but there's 2,500 people in Natrona County alone that are employed by a company that is impacted by tourism. So as far as our state and getting tourists through the state, which is our number 2 industry, I feel like we impact that. And then we also deliver just a quality of life to be able to produce or be able to hold all of these types of events that we do in the building.
I would have never even went to the tourism route. That is so cool. I didn't even think about people traveling into the state or coming into Casper for those big events. Because, I mean, that's a drive for people who aren't really familiar. That's like 7 hours, 6.
We'll measure
7?
it in hours.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a long drive, everybody.
Yeah,
and they brought their whole family.
Wow.
You know, they're not making that in one day. They're staying here for the night. They're eating in our restaurants.
Yep.
They're gassing up all the way here. So that's just one avenue to look at when having a building like this in our state. But then the other impact I feel is if you are in the small town of, say, Thermopolis, you're going to come here for an event. So, when we have Journey, the classic rock group Journey,
those guys
is going.
Yeah,
Journey. Those people. Never heard of them. Just kidding.
They were doing a tour earlier this year, and their threshold was 8,000 seat arenas. So we put in a bid for like 8,100 seat, setup for that concert, and it was 7,000 plus here. But this is the only building and venue in the state that could get that tour to come here. And if you're in, like I said, Thermopolis, you're going to come here for that concert. Otherwise, you're driving out of state to do it.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask that. How does that work? Because I'm curious hearing you talk. Like, do you put in bids for artists or different types of events, whether it's Broadway, comedians, concerts? Do you put in the bid for them, or do they look at you, or do you work with their tour manager? I mean, how does that even work? Because I don't know if anybody else is curious, but
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. And, also, thank goodness I am not the one that has to do that, because I choose what I like. And sometimes that's just not what is going to sell tickets in this market. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, for example, just a plug, August 25th, we have Lindsey Sterling coming. So all of you Lindsey Sterling fans, please get out and buy the last remaining tickets because it is a hot selling show. Lindsey Sterling, I had no idea who she was before our general manager announced that she was coming. And I'm like, who is Lindsey Sterling? To which everybody in our room, we had a events meeting, looked at me like I was, dumb as a box of rocks, which I guess I won't go there. But anyway, Lindsey Sterling is one that is selling like crazy. That is a YouTube artist that plays the violin and dances on stage.
Mm-hmm. She's on Dancing with the Stars, so that's also why she's popular.
See you.
Yeah.
Good. I didn't know that.
I knew that because she was on Dancing with the Stars, and I used to watch it with my mother before. Anyways.
And the demographic is 24 to 34 that is coming to that show. So you have that, and then, but we'll reach out to different artists that we think would be good to play in this market. And then other ones, the promoter is who is working with us. So the promoter buys the show, and then the promoter goes out to the venues and puts together the tour. Does that help?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So no Taylor Swifts because we don't have a stadium, right? And she was only doing a stadium tour.
Yeah.
We might be able to get Taylor Swift in like 2042 when she's on her way down.
Yeah.
Just give it a few years.
Yeah,
Swifties.
when she's on her downward spiral, Wyoming people, I got you.
Yeah. We get them on the way up and on the way down. And, that's not necessarily negative because we get some really good acts that come here that like Journey. I mean, and that's one that they were playing secondary markets that they called it in their press release secondary markets. Really in Wyoming and in Casper here, we're a tertiary market. So we're really a step down, but we are fortunate to have this building, the Ford Wyoming Center. We don't have hard research on this, but we think there's only probably a handful of places in the United States, probably 5, that are this small of a city with this large of arena.
Oh, wow.
So we're fortunate in that regard, but it also causes some issues as far as it's very expensive to run and keep the lights on, so to say, of an arena this large.
So that makes sense, Dan. So, Union is one of the sponsors of the Ford Wyoming Center. So talk a little bit about the importance and the impact of having those sponsorships, and what would it mean if you were to lose some of those sponsorships? How would that impact the Wyoming Ford Center?
Yes, great question. And it now you're in my lane, so to say. But the corporate sponsorships and partners, it allows us to take risk for a wide, diverse set of events to bring to the public of Wyoming. That's the short answer. That's the bottom line. It is contractual obligated income that our GM, when looking at the next year and planning, let's face it, Journey doesn't plan a tour and a month later they're on that tour. It's happening probably a year in advance of that. Our Broadway shows are in a year in advance. Well, our corporate partners allow us to have a plan in place for some sort of revenue stream that allows us to take risks so that we can say, we're going to take that show where we're a little bit iffy on. And maybe it's a Lindsey Sterling that I had no idea that was so popular, but he's doing great. And then you have another show like Billy Currington that comes up, and we can take that when. So the long and the short is that it allows us to take some risk and bring a wide, diverse set of events to the public of Wyoming. That's the part of it. But the other part of it is it's expensive to run this building, like I said. For example, a Broadway show, we had Cats here not too long ago. Part of their contract is that we had to have 51, I believe it was 51 union stagehands on site at 7:45 in the morning.
Wow.
That's a heavy lift as far as putting up that stage, paying that payroll, and bringing that show to this market. And to do it, we're an arena, a multi-purpose arena. So in this case, we didn't have a basketball tournament the day before, a volleyball tournament, but there's been times when we've gone from a volleyball tournament into a Broadway play, and it's a heavy lift. So our corporate partners are very important on that process, to be able to say yes to a wide variety of events and then to pay for those events that are expensive.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what's been one of the most successful events that you've held there?
Journey, for one.
Journey, yeah, I'm sure.
That was probably the largest concert that I have seen in the building. I've been here about 5 years. Our largest concert ever in the building was in 1982, and it was Kenny Rogers.
Oh.
That does not shock me.
That does not shock me
even like
either.
one bit.
Yeah.
Well, what's been your favorite?
My favorite concert, and again, getting back to that wide variety of events to come, is Postmodern Jukebox. So, do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Keith is our producer, and he's over here shaking his head full of excitement. So you have a fan over here.
Yeah, Postmodern Jukebox. How do I explain it? They reproduce or create new music, like pop music, into 1940s big band era productions.
Well, that's cool.
And they kind of have a Broadway type feel, like song and dance to them. And the performers that come on tour with them are just so talented. It's amazing to see, and you can just Google Postmodern Jukebox on YouTube, and it brings up a host of videos. They're very well received on YouTube, and then they go on a live tour based upon that YouTube channel. But during that show, I was blown away, and there was 8 standing ovations at the end of that show when they came.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
Have you ever had Metallica? Am I making that up?
You're not making that up. Metallica has been in the building.
Oh, wow. I don't want to miss Metallica if you bring them back.
Metallica might be 2043 again if they're still around.
Oh, my goodness.
I got a couple decades to wait.
Over the 40 years, it's a who's who of artists that have come through this building. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, just over the last year, we've had Cody Johnson, who now is playing Cheyenne Frontier Days. I think Artist of the Year or something at CMT. Snoop Dogg, T-Pain.
When did you have Snoop Dogg?
In December, the coldest day of the year.
In what year?
22.
Oh, wow.
Tressa, where the heck were we?
I don't know. Probably bundled up somewhere.
Probably, yeah. Probably non-existent. I'm really upset I missed that one, Dan. You've got to tell us when you have Snoop in the building with T-Pain. I mean, geez.
Yeah, T-Pain, Snoop Dogg, Yin Yang Twins.
Man, I've seen every one of those people live, Dan.
Yeah, they were here in December, the coldest day of the year. I think it was -37 that night.
Oh, wow.
We were very worried about, our lines outside the building. So just to bring that, it was 6,000 people here, to bring that many people into the building so fast, and to not have them stand in line outside. And we have a very small concourse. It was a hard thing to do for our event staff. And then to make sure that everybody's safe by wanding and sending through the metal detectors and
are the tickets legitimate, all that stuff.
Right. And you have gloves on because you're cold, and then your ticket's on your cell phone, and it's just
the challenges we have in Wyoming.
Wow, I'm really upset. I'm not going to lie to you, Dan. I don't know how we missed the Yin Yang Twins and T-Pain and Snoop Dogg.
Well,
yeah,
my regret of 2022. I found it.
We're gonna have to pay more attention, Myra.
I thought T-Pain blew the socks off of Snoop Dogg, but I'm not gonna lie. When Snoop Dogg came on stage, it was like seeing one of those stars that you're just blown away by just to see him. So
yeah,
it was more along the lines of a mega star to see for me.
You could check it off your items. You've now seen Snoop Dogg.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Well, Dan, that's all the
I think we're just about out of time. Just one last quick question. Do you want to talk about, you talked about one of your upcoming events. Are there any other upcoming events you want listeners to know about that's happening late summer, early fall?
Well, I was hoping you'd ask that because I have a cheat sheet here with all of our upcoming events that I'd like to plug.
Yeah.
And just real quick, we talk about the concerts. The concerts are the fun ones. The concerts are the ones that we talk about. But we hold all of the Wyoming High School Athletic Association state tournaments here. So all of the high school sporting tournaments are held here. We have 85 events that are held here in the building with over 200,000 people that come through. But we like to talk about the concerts just because they're fun and everything. So we have coming up next Tuesday, we have Whiskey Myers, kind of an alt country group. And then to switch things up, we have Motionless in White and In This Moment that are co-headlining. They are a heavy metal group with a mosh pit. Much different than Whiskey Myers.
Very different.
Much different.
Yeah. And then after that, we have one that's kind of in the middle of those two groups, and that's Co-Wetzel. So kind of a country rock band, I guess. And I'm excited. That's the one I'm excited about to see. And then Billy Currington, so classic country. And then the one I mentioned earlier, which is Lindsey Sterling on August 25th, the violinist. And then I don't know if you call them, I better not call them classic rock, but Goo Goo Dolls are coming on September 16th for a certain age group that is out there. And then we will call this one classic rock, but the classic rock band Styx is coming November 7th. So just some upcoming shows.
Yeah, sounds great.
That's cool.
Well, Dan, we appreciate your time today. We appreciate the partnership that we have with the Wyoming Ford Center, and appreciate that you bring entertainment to our communities. So.
Okay, well, we appreciate Union and the work that you guys do in our communities.
Yeah, thank you. Well, until next time.
Stay authentic.